Hey everybody, today we're going to be unboxing our first shipment of Smalls cat food. This is our second attempt because the last time the camera was not rolling. So this time it is, and let's dig in. So Smalls is a company that sells, first and foremost, fresh human-grade cat food. However, they actually have a bunch of products. They do freeze-dried raw food. They do the fresh food in a variety of textures. They have a kibble line. They actually sell some broth supplements. They have a couple little toys. They have some kitty litter, all these things you can add to your subscription. But the main thing is the fresh food. And as you see here, because they ship the food fresh, it comes cold over dry ice. So this, basically, when you see the box, it just has instructions. Your food, if you ordered fresh, should be cold when you receive it and unbox it. In fact, it should be completely frozen. It should stay frozen for a couple of days during transit. And if it's not for some reason, they leave you an email right here that you can contact them to get that taken care of. But, and then here, there's just a little bit of instructions on the insulation, which I will get to in a second. So this is the insulation. You see the package, if you order fresh, comes in this because this keeps everything inside cold. And what the box is saying is the insulation in this box is made from corn and is completely biodegradable. So this is really cool. When you're ordering a fresh pet food subscription like this, there's a lot of materials involved, and all of those materials can add up. And so Smalls wanted to take the steps they could to minimize the environmental impact on that. So cardboard obviously is recyclable and often made with recycled material already. This is corn-based, so you just take it out of this bag and then you can dissolve this, I think probably in the sink. Put it in your sink, yep, run water over it and watch it disappear. It might also just be biodegradable if you want to stick it out in your compost pile or something like that. But that's a really cool step that they've taken to keep you from filling up your trash area with styrofoam, basically. And then inside, you're gonna see, here's the first little warning they give you about the dry ice. Basically, you know, if you've ever done a science fair project as a kid, dry ice is really cool. It kind of creates cool fog, but you don't wanna hold it for more than like a second because you can burn your skin. So, you know, they give you a little warning about that. And we're gonna get to that food in a second, but first I wanna show you all the other stuff that I got from Smalls. So, first and foremost, this is a Smalls container that you can add on to your order if you want. This is like a hard plastic, and this is a very flexible silicone. Super easy to clean, and the shape, the reason you might want to order one, although I'm sure you have Tupperware in your home, is the shape is pretty convenient. Once you see the packages, you'll understand why. We'll get into that in a second. Smalls, in addition to food, has a couple cute little cat toys. One thing I'll say, so when you're looking at Smalls, it's evident that this is a company that was built all around cats specifically. In the pet food industry, dogs tend to be the biggest focus and the biggest priority for these companies because there is simply more money to be made in dog products. So cat stuff is usually an afterthought. The food isn't necessarily prepared as well. There's not as many options. Toys tend to favor dogs. So with all of this stuff, especially when we get into like the different types of ways you can order the same food, it's all really, really created with cats at the front of mind. And I think as cat owners, you'll probably appreciate that. So these little crocheted toys, a dog would certainly devour this in about 3 seconds, and your cat might too, depending on the cat. But these are some cool little crocheted drumstick toys that, again, you can add on to your order. You obviously don't have to, but they're kind of cute, they're kind of fun. So we got some of those. And then here is just our instructional booklet that comes with the food. So it's gonna have a few things in here. First and foremost, it's gonna have a transition guide, because if you're introducing your pet to a new food, you don't wanna do it all at once because you're gonna upset their gut. Their microbiome is used to digesting specific proteins and types of ingredients, and if you change it too rapidly, it can kind of create diarrhea, they might throw up a little bit. It's just gonna not, they'll be gassy. It'll just create indigestion. So this basically explains how to transition your pet to the new food over about a week. It also comes with some stickers that you can use to basically track the transition process, especially if you have more than one cat. So that's helpful. And then this is a little booklet about the food. It's basically explaining the difference between human grade ingredients and the stuff that goes into your typical pet kibble. So yes, everything in Smalls' fresh and freeze-dried food is human grade. That means the ingredients meet the standards in the US for human consumption. So you could eat this stuff if you really wanted to. I would not recommend it. I don't plan on eating any, especially the freeze-dried raw, but that just basically emphasizes the difference between the quality of this food and what you could get at the pet store or the supermarket on the pet shelves. That stuff isn't even fit for human consumption. Frankly, there is human-grade food from like fast food joints that if you eat too much of it, it is gonna mess you up. So the fact that the pet food at the grocery store isn't even human grade really raises some questions about where it's coming from and what's going into it. We know for a fact some big pet kibble manufacturers have been known to use the leftover carcasses from factories, even roadkill at times, all ground up into the food, and that's not quality nutrition for your pet. Then it goes into like the process of cooking it. So it's cooked gently. Again, if you're transitioning your cat off of kibble, the way kibble's produced is it's extruded at these extremely high temperatures that help kill all the bacteria, especially because the ingredients aren't typically sourced well. And what that does is destroys a lot of the nutrition that's available in your cat's food. So this is fresh food. All of the ingredients come from the US and Canada, and all of the food is prepared in the US. So it's top-notch ingredients that are human grade. It's cooked gently the way you would cook food. So that preserves a lot of the nutrition, which is gonna have some effects on your pet's health that we can talk about in a second. And then it's shipped to you fresh, basically. They cook it, they freeze it, they send it to you within a couple days, and your cat is eating a diet that's not too far off from your own, hopefully. Okay, now the food. So the freeze-dried raw isn't Smalls' main product. The main product is fresh food, which is down there. But this is really cool for a variety of reasons. If you like to give your cat a raw diet, because like I described before, when you cook food, it destroys some of the nutritional value, especially when you cook it at extreme temperatures. So freeze-dried raw means that since it's raw, it doesn't have that cooking process that eliminates nutritional value. And the way it's freeze-dried is also it's a method of making it shelf-stable without destroying as much nutritional value, such as the process that you use to extrude kibble. So that's pretty cool. We got 3 of them. We got this is their turkey recipe, their duck recipe, and their chicken recipe. And as you'll see here, all of the birds are farm raised and free run. So if you have ethical qualms about, the big industrial chicken farms and the lines of cages and stuff like that, that's not going on here. It's all humanely raised and harvested. And then I want to look at the ingredients, because if you look at the back of the like your typical kibble package, or especially like a cat treat package, you're gonna see a bunch of suspicious stuff. So here we've got, this is the turkey recipe, finely ground turkey with bone. And that's important for their nutritional, in the wild, your cat's going to be eating a whole animal, including the bone, and they get certain minerals and vitamins from that. And that's important for their holistic health. So that's why they include that here. Then you've got some organ meat, turkey heart, turkey liver, turkey gizzard. Those are really, organ meat I personally don't like organ meat for my own plate, but your pet will love it, and it's just packed with nutrition. So that's really good to include. And there's raw goat's milk, which if your cat has a pretty strong reaction to dairy, that could be a problem. It's not cow's milk, it's goat's milk, but it's something to be aware of. Maybe talk to your vet if you're concerned about that. It's certainly not a problematic ingredient for all cats. You've got turkey egg, water, eggshell membrane, kind of like bone. There's minerals in eggshell membrane. That's good for them. Herring oil, and then some mixed tocopherols, which are going to help preserve the food. There's no antibiotics in any of the birds that are used to create it, no growth hormones. There's no grains or fillers in this, and no byproducts, so there's not going to be any corn or soy or anything like that pets tend to have a hard time digesting, but that pet food manufacturers pack into their food to make it cheaper and last longer. So in here they describe the process. We slowly freeze dry our ingredients for 48 hours to lock in vital nutrients. So like I was talking about before, it's just a better process. So there's the duck recipe. The ingredient list is pretty similar. Finely ground duck with duck bone, duck heart, duck liver, duck gizzard. You know, same ingredients, but duck based. The same goes for the chicken. So these are good. You can serve those either as a topper for the wet food. It could be served on its own. Just follow the portioning instructions. Because it's freeze-dried, it's pretty light and it doesn't seem like there's much there, but there's more than you think. So it can be served on its own or as a topper, or you could even use it as a treat if you want to just give your cat one or two. And then we're gonna get to the fresh food. So there's another little cardboard warning about the dry ice. We actually took the dry ice out already, but this stuff is very frozen still. So here is where Smalls really shines. All of this food, like I said, human grade, humanely raised and harvested. There's no growth hormones or additives. But what I was saying before about how Smalls is created with cats at the front of mind, it's really evident here. So if you're a cat owner, you know your cat can be picky. Cats tend to be far pickier than dogs, although it's not always the case. And one of the things they're picky about is the texture of their food. So Smalls actually has gone the extra step of creating 2 different textures for each of their fresh recipes. So first we're gonna look at this is the fresh chicken recipe. So it's ground bird is the name. And it's the chicken water, chicken liver, chicken heart, green beans, peas, kale, the small supplement blend. You can go on their site to look at expanded list of what it goes into this, like the supplement blend. But this is just fresh food that, again, sounds normal. It sounds like something I'd eat. It was cooked just a couple days ago and frozen and shipped to me. So this is like the freshest you could give your pet, basically, without, I guess, cooking it yourself. But if you tried to do that, you'd have to get a supplement blend anyways, because you're not going to be able to mimic the precise nutritional requirements of your pet at home very easily. So one of the things that Smalls does is they pre-portion these packs into these little like 1/2-inch marks are 50 calories, every single one. So if your cat gets, 100 calories in a meal, you just knock off 2 of them. And then with this storage container, it just pops in there. And this is why this is really convenient, is you'd need a pretty big, long storage container otherwise. I mean, it wouldn't be too bad, especially as you start cutting it. But if you just want a convenient case from the beginning, there you go, it seals on. But again, that's the chicken recipe. Now, here is ground other bird, which is their turkey recipe. It still includes some chicken products, like chicken liver. Here's the second ingredient. But it's much, much more turkey inclusive than chicken. And if your pet prefers that flavor for some reason, or they just do better with turkey, there you go. And I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but if you look really close, you can kind of see the little, like, you can see that there's little real ingredients in there, like some of the vegetables included, like the peas and the kale. And the reason Smalls includes those is, first of all, in the wild, your pet's going to be eating animals that will have just consumed fresh vegetation, so they would naturally be eating some of those. And the other reason is they do get some vitamins and minerals and antioxidants from these things. So that's why they include it. It's like, I think 10% or less vegetable. The vast majority of it is meat-based protein, which is what cats love. And that's one of the things that sets fresh food and Smalls' food apart from kibble, is the percentage of it that's just pure fresh meat protein, instead of fillers, again, like the corn and the soy and stuff like that. So that's pretty good. And like I was saying, if your cat's picky, maybe they don't like the ground texture because it's too grainy or something like that, Smalls has created a smooth texture for fresh food. So this is their beef recipe. It's called Smooth Cow. And it's smooth, so if your cat's used to eating like the tins of wet food that's just really, really almost spreadable and smooth, then they should be able to transition to this without too much of a mouthfeel shock. So the way Smalls works is you'll go on and they'll take you through a very brief survey about your cat. You'll basically give them your cat's name, age, their size, and you'll let them know if there's any food preferences or maybe like allergies they have that they can't eat beef, for example, or something like that. And what they'll do is they'll recommend some products for you to try out. And your trial box it's just basically so you can figure out what your cat likes. They're gonna send you a variety of things like you see here, and you can try them out. If your cat doesn't like some things and does like some other things, you can make those changes in your future orders. And you also can add on things like the Tupperware container, the toys, if you want to add on the litter that I mentioned at the beginning, or they have the chicken gizzard treats, and they have some bone broth that you can kind of use to entice your cat into trying the new food for the first time. Those things can be added on as well. Your subscription can be canceled at any time. You can edit the, I think if you want to skip a delivery, you can like pause it. Yeah, so it's pretty flexible. There's no long-term commitments. You're not billed annually or anything like that. So it's pretty great. And the thing I would say is if you have a cat, especially a cat that's been dealing with digestive issues, if they have really smelly poop, and they cough up a lot of hairballs and maybe their coat's not so shiny, try out Smalls, because when I talked about all of the nutrition that goes into these ingredients because they're better sourced and they're fresh and there's no fillers, well, that means there's gonna be more nutrition available for your cat's body to absorb, instead of, cornmeal or meat meals that exist in kibble. And since those nutritional elements are going into your cat's body, you should see a long-term holistic impact on your pet's health when you feed them a fresh human-grade diet. And although it's a little bit pricier than kibble, it's because the food's much, much better. And hopefully down the line, you'll get some of that money back in lower vet bills because your cat's healthier. So you can try it out. You can get 25% off your first delivery through the link below, or you can read our full blog review for a more in-depth breakdown of what all Smalls offers, and as well as some other options. So hope that helps.